We talk about, well, what if AI gets involved in it?
The world is coming to an end.
Somehow, with a frequency or a noise, change the attitude of a fish.
It's witchcraft.
All right, so I have a question for you. So we know pretty much what you disagree with, but are there any points that he makes concerning forward-facing sonar that you do agree with?
I agree that if we're gonna, I would agree with what he's saying about worrying about it going too far with like, well, what is the next thing going to be? If forward-facing sonar is this good and it's made fisheries this tough, what's the next thing? Wow, you just got a bunch more money from the lead attorney. Look at that.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I have to stop the show. We have a big dog, one of the big YouTubers in the house, guys. We have the lead attorney.
But I also, like, I don't think it can go any further to where it can help fishermen at the same rate that, like, jumping from side imaging in 360 to forward-facing sonar did. Like,
Gotcha.
we talk about, well, what if AI gets involved in these things? It's like, well, if I have a forward-facing sonar that's able to decide if it's a bass or a catfish, that doesn't help me hardly at all. Like, you know, from watching it, like, I know looking at it, like I was fishing today and I saw crappie, I saw bass, I saw gar, I saw catfish. It didn't make them bite any better. Like, just me spending a couple of years with it makes me understand what they are. But there's nature involved and there's critters that we can't control involved unless there's something to where we can somehow with a frequency or a noise change the attitude of a fish, which we kind of had with hydrowave, but that's kind of here and there.
I think even the pinging. I think those fish are picking up on that pinging too.
Of course, yeah. So there's all sorts of environmental factors that the fish are becoming conditioned to, mostly, in my opinion, from just a boat being there. They hear the boat, the waves slapping against it more than anything. They hear the ping from the sonar. They hear the trolling motor spinning. And the more and more they get caught, the more they get conditioned to, I got an ouchie in my mouth and got pulled out of the water when I heard this noise. I felt the boat slap. I heard the pinging of the sonar. And so I'm going to bite less or be more weary when I see a presentation while I'm hearing that.
And a point that I want to make on that, and that what you just said is what I tell people all of the time, because I used to be able to go out and kill them on sonar. I could read sonar like when, okay, here it comes. It's following my bait. It's chasing real fast. I was reading sonar like that. And so people would say, well, where's your drop shot at? You don't have it anymore. And I was like, well, the fish are reacting different now. And they were like, you think the fish can tell? And I was like, well, think of it like this. Well, maybe everybody won't be able to relate to this, but a cowbell, everybody knows when you ring the cowbell, what happens? The cows start coming because they know it's time to eat. So to me, when fish hear that ticking underwater, they're like, hey, let's go and get something to eat. And they're like, oh goodness, Jimmy got a hole in his mouth. And where did he go? They hear they come over again. Oh goodness, where did Bob go? Bob's gone too. So when they hear they're like, hey, bad things happen when we hear this little pinging sound. So we're going to kind of stay away from that. So to me, I kind of look at it as like that has now become a signal for some of those fish to be like, hey, there's some bad things going over there. We need to get away. We hear it coming. So let's go ahead and head out.
100%. I mean, that's been going on for generations and generations of fish prior to forward-facing sonar too. But now it's happening at a quicker rate just because technology is advancing. People are able to drop a bait on top of fish. And that's something I don't really like to share or talk about too much, but I will to your MoneyBass followers. Like, fish get really conditioned to a plop or whatever noise it makes on top of their head.
Right.
That's the biggest, like, traveling across the country and fishing different fisheries, especially at the smallmouth stuff where you're seeing fish, I mean, even 25 to 30 feet down. You drop the drop shot 80 feet from the boat, right on their dome, and they don't eat it. They go down to it and they stop and they don't eat it. Well, they should eat it every time, but they don't.
Right.
You see how they get conditioned to a bait falling on their head. Same thing down here in Texas. Like, the further we go on and the more they get the baits dropped on top of them, they get conditioned to a bait falling straight down their head. And that's something that I've noticed for a few years now. That's how they're getting conditioned. They know not to eat presentations. A lot of them do, that are dropped perfectly vertical, and that's just from them seeing that over and over and over and over and getting caught, or seeing fake things, or seeing their friends caught if they can process that in their brains. I don't know, but yeah, that's what's happening.
All right. Well, let me do a little something real quick, because I saw something that caught my eye, and when something like this happens, oh my goodness, I have to stop the show. We have a big dog, one of the big YouTubers in the house, guys. We have the lead attorney. We have the lead attorney checking in. He says, salute, Money Bass. All right. He says, great stream. Really, really appreciate it.